I'm calling Baxter Park right now to see if we can get Rainier up the mountain. We are the Crawfords. We have 6 kids and are hiking the Appalachian Trail, a 2,200-mile hike from Georgia to Maine. We don't know if we can finish it, but we are doing it together.
Good morning. Let me show you guys where we've been staying the last couple of days.
Good morning.
Yeah. Morning. Whoa, look at that.
Alan.
Hey Rainier, wow, look at all this.
They'll have chocolate just because I'm testing the flavor. That water is
There's a lot going on here. Wow, look at that. We are in Maine, so we are having Maine blueberry pancakes.
Breakfast this morning was really fun, talking and just eating with all the other hikers. These last couple of days have just been really cool because other people are staying like around the same amount of days that we are, Fresh Ground and Pee-wee and a few others, and it's just been fun, like getting back after hiking and chatting with them in the living room, having dinner together, breakfast. It's just really, really nice.
Okay. Time to go to school or church. Not sure which. Does that keep the gas station?
Well, I left it at the gas station.
Okay, it is starting to rain out there. But we have our rain jackets and we have a shorter day. And we have been riding in this bus for the last 2 or 3 days. Slack packing over the weekend with Odie over here. But I want, the kids are gonna go and I want you guys to hear from Odie's perspective. All right, Odie.
Hello.
Tell us how you got here. Why are we hanging out?
So, I travel in a school bus and assist hikers and stuff, and I also hike a lot. So I planned on hiking the Mahoosic Notch section and the Whites. So I ran into you guys in Gorham, and I drove the bus up to Honey and Bear's place in Andover. Well, you guys came and hiked in, and I said, well, I have the ability to move a family of 8 with the school bus, so it's kind of like you tell God your plans and he laughs at you. So I tell the trail my plans, and I say, hey, I'm going to do this, and the trail says, no, I want you to do this instead. So I'm on a completely different adventure than hiking, and I'm running you guys around so that y'all can slack pack for 3 days in this pouring rain. So, and I'm really happy to do it. I love doing this. This bus is a church bus. It serves.
Which has been incredible. And you have a little project going on. To call it little would be a little, let me show you guys real quick. It is Hiker Yearbook. Hiker Yearbook. Oh, it's right there. There's a sign there. Hiker Yearbook. There's even, it's like, I can't show you right now. I'll show you later, but it's all over this vest. Tell us about Hiker Yearbook.
So, I thru hiked in 2013. Once I got home, everyone out here has a trail name, and I found it really difficult to find someone by only knowing them by the name of Baloo and Twinkle Toes and Aristotle. So I began obsessively trying to find hikers that I knew, but I only knew them by trail name, and I said, well, there's got to be a better way. So I started this project in 2014, and I spent about 5 months on the trail, and I talked to all the hikers. and
Which is how we first met, because 3 months ago,
I was hiking in
Damascus, and we saw you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was funny. I asked your oldest daughter, I said, hey, have you seen the hiker family? Because I know they're close to here. And she said, we're them. and then here y'all came down the trail. So, but what I do is I convince everyone to email me their photos, and then I have Danielle, my business partner, she organizes everything, and we make this basically a high school yearbook, but it's for the hikers. And then there's a directory, and that's why I do it, because it's trail name, real name, and email. So for the first time, hikers are able to only know somebody by the name of Squirrel, and yet still, after the trail, get a hold of them.
And you have how many years of this you've been gone?
I've done 4 years. This is the 17, 16, 15, and then my 14, if you notice the size difference, The 14 one only had 400 hikers in it. It was the start of a dream. The pictures are much bigger, but my prized photo is actually on the back cover. This is Gene Espy. He's the oldest living through hiker. He hiked in 1951, and he was the second to complete the trail going northbound. And I asked him if I could use his photo for the book, and he said he'd be honored, and he had no idea how honored I was. He's still alive today. He's 91 years old. These books are rough because I do hike with them. I carry them out on trail, only one at a time. But this book weighs 2 pounds 8 ounces. And then I have my waterproof stuff sack. And
that was our first experience with you. We met Odie on the trail, and within 8 seconds he had his yearbook out and was showing it to us. Are you getting rich yet off this project?
Oh God, no. There's a break even at the best, but I work in the wintertime doing metal roofs and save my money to come out here and provide for this. And then from the generosity and graciousness of the hiker community, I've been able to live a lifestyle that I would never be able to afford. But no, there's no major money coming.
So this is passion driven.
This is passion driven. Mm-hmm.
Cool. We are very thankful to have met this man and just be exposed to this project. So we will be ordering our hiker yearbook, and we're going to be in it. We're submitting our photo. But there's this other special thing I kind of want to do right now, because Odie, we were driving this van coming off the trail the other day, and Odie was driving us with the school bus. We put a video online because he has a mohawk and our kid's in a school bus, so it was kind of punk rock. And he goes, "You guys want to hear my speech?" And we're like, "Yeah." I mean, there's no music. And he started giving the speech from the front seat, like at the top of his lungs, because it gets kind of loud in here. And we're like listening to it. I almost started crying. And I was like, we need to get that on video. So we are getting that speech on video. And this is a speech. Give us the 10-second. Where is this from?
This is, I do trail days every year. About 500 to 600 through hikers stand in front of my bus, and I stand on top of the bus, and I give a trail history speech, because I feel that if the hikers knew their history, they would have more respect for the trail. So I feel a responsibility to pass off the history that I know. And I wrote this speech. It's more of a poem, but it's packed with the history, the basic history, and I'm hoping that it plants seeds in hikers' minds to research more.
Okay, we need some music here.
You are royalty. Everything the light touches from Georgia to Maine, both on trail and off, is yours. 1921, Benton Mackay dreamed of your kingdom. 1925, the ATC was formed. 1931, Myron Avery was elected, chosen to lead, and served 7 consecutive terms as the ATC chair. 1937, footpath complete. From Maine to Georgia, Benton Mackay's dream became your reality. You are royalty. 1937 was a good year for the AT. The following year, a storm was brewing. It was twisting and turning in the Atlantic Ocean. A hurricane slammed the New England section of trail. 1941, Pearl Harbor was bombed, bringing America into the worst war the world had ever seen. Most of those who served on the ATC and in the trail clubs up and down the trail had to leave their post and go and fight in that war. The trail was suffocating. 1948, Earl Schaefer stood at one end of the trail and he said, "I'm gonna hike to the other end of the trail," and they said it couldn't be done, and in the shape that the trail was in, it probably shouldn't be done. But Earl Schaefer said, "I'm going to hike off that war," and then he did it, becoming the first person crowned Appalachian Trail through hiker. Earl Schaefer passed his crown down to Gene Espy, further down the line to Grandma Gatewood, all the way down the line through history to the moment that you set foot on this trail and said, "I'm gonna hike from this end all the way to that end." It was in that moment that a crown was placed on your head. I pray that you lead with the grace of leave no trace. I pray that you rule with the authority to enforce enforce in-town hiker etiquette, because I tell you, if a hiker is disrespecting the trail or a trail town, then that hiker is disrespecting the crown. Use your authority. You are royalty. Walk your kingdom humbly. Learn its history and be its royalty.
All right.
Thank you.
That felt good. See ya! Dude, I am inspired. Man, I don't know if you guys get sick of me talking about it, but the AT, this whole experience, I mean, there's like hiking, but it's all about the people. I just don't know when I'd ever get a chance in my lifetime to meet people like that and to have my kids meet people like that. So we have a 10-mile day today. It's weird that I gotta even like film it because we're hiking in the rain and it'll be wet and hard and stuff. But when we're hanging out with these fascinating people at their house in the morning, and people like Odie that drive, sorry, I'm out of breath already, school buses around and make yearbooks, and helping families like us out, I'm like, the walking seems like the boring part actually. Still raining, gotta catch up with the family. I really want to take that last speech thing and turn it into a full video. Just because I think it's so interesting. I learned a lot from it. And I want other hikers to be exposed to that. I want other people to hear Odie's message. All right, gotta go. Hikers hike.
Ben's like, gotta vlog that shit. Okay, we're just at the top of the mountain and now we're heading down. 4.5 more miles to go for today. So there's this technical 200 miles, which is very steep ups and downs with a lot of boulder climbing, and if it's wet, it's like super slippery. It's the last 100 miles of New Hampshire and the first 100 of Maine. And what's just been really, really cool is, I mean, the whites like kicked our butts and it was like really, really hard. And then once we got into Maine, we got some tips from this guy Hudson that we stayed with a while ago, and he sent us to the cabin, which we're staying at now, and they've been slack packing us the last couple days. And then we just talked to Stacy from the Farmhouse Inn, and I just started to like get emotional and teary-eyed because I just felt like we were just being provided these people who are totally helping us out and getting us through this last technical part. And we even have someone that we're staying with for like the very last part of it, which is the Bigelows, which is in like, I don't know, 4 days or something like that. And then after that, it's the 100-mile wilderness, and I can really see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm just really thankful for all these people and just how we're just getting so much support. And part of me is like, oh, we should be in the woods more, and maybe we're taking the easy way out. But then I just start to think like how much we've been through, and like there's no like one right way to do it. And I'm just like, you know what? Like, we've been through a lot, and it's been good and it's been hard. And I think it's okay to have people help you, especially through this like really hard spot. And you know, I've been a little worried about like how much weight I've lost and how much weight some of the kids are losing. And this place we're staying at now is like giving us like these solid meals for breakfast and dinner, and we're not carrying heavy packs, and I just think it's gonna like, it's gonna make or break our trip, and I think it's gonna make it. We're gonna be strong to be able to finish well. So I'm like stressing a little bit because I like to stress apparently. But I'm gonna call Baxter State Park again tonight and try to get a hold of someone. And I've been like rehearsing in my head like what I want to say, because I feel like this is like, I mean, maybe it doesn't matter what I say, but I just feel like this is like our shot to like possibly get our whole family up there. So we'll see how that goes. Actually, correction, Odie, the guy who's been driving us around in his bus and helping us out, he actually he went out of his way to tell us about the cabin, Honey and Bear, that we're staying with right now. And then Hudson is the one that told us about the farmhouse in which we're gonna be staying with for the next few days.
We had banana bread and brownies for dessert, and then like some cantaloupe from this morning, which was really good. It was leftovers from the hostel we're staying at. And slack packing, it's really fun. It gives us like a really long break, and it's like raining out almost like constantly, just dripping. But I feel like we should be doing more miles. We're only doing 10 miles each day, which is like 4 less than we're supposed to be doing in order to get to Katahdin in time. But I mean, I know like once the weather gets better, we might be able to go faster and do more miles, but right now we're going kind of slow.
Rainier! Oh, did I scare you? Sorry. Where are we? Are we gonna go for a bus ride? Okay, come on. Let's go. Hey, let's get on the bus. Time to go.
Time to go.
Time to go.
I don't even know the last time we smoked a cigar not in the woods. I can't remember. It's been a while. We're just enjoying a little bit of leisure. I guess Ben's still working while leisuring. But we got our drinks here, and we're enclosed in this like netting because it's kind of like raining outside, so it's nice that we have this covering.
It's dinner time, there's a lot of people, and there's fresh gas. And there's like a lot of people at the table, and we're having like sauces and like stuff like that. Lemonade and iced tea and
For dessert, there's brownies and whipped cream, and then these 2 huge tubs of ice cream.
That when Maine separated from Massachusetts, that all this land was given to the people of Maine, and the paper companies had taken it over. And he started writing about it, and it ended up in the books. And what happened in the long run, well, actually the governor called my brother the night before it all came down and said, what should we ask for as far as the trail is concerned?
Yeah.
But what actually happened, the paper companies swapped their higher lands for the lowlands, and that's why you have to come through Mahoosic Notch and some of the Bigelows, and there's public lots all over the state of Maine where people can actually just camp on them. They belong to the people of Maine.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's the reason you go over the tops of a lot of these mountains.
Your brother Paul.
And I never dared to tell old Shakespeare.
So, Bunny, who's owns this place, was telling a story about how her brother, who's summited right there, is responsible for why the trail in Maine is so difficult and goes over all the peaks of the mountains. And that most difficult part we went through the other day is the responsibility of her brother from this crazy story. He's a journalist. There's so much history in this room though, it's crazy. Ed Schaefer, the first guy to hike the AT, sat at this table. Earl, what'd I say? Oh, that's so embarrassing. So this is Bear and Honey who own this place. Can you share how this place came to be?
Well, Earl and I were married back in '94, and when we found this house, it was the worst looking house I've ever seen in my life. And he had told me he was a contractor by trade, and he was telling the truth. But anyhow, we gutted this house and we rebuilt it. We lived in the basement for 2.5 years. In '98, when we went into the books, we hiked from Springer to Klingman's Dome. And we had this whole big group of people coming, and we didn't have the bunk room built at the time. So as soon as he got home, he started building.
Oh, for those hikers.
We only had like 4 bunks downstairs, right? And maybe the private room where Dawn is. Anyhow, but that's how it all came about. We actually met hiking, so.
And this house is basically built for hikers then?
Right, yeah. We just built it with hikers in mind. And
so how long, I've heard you guys are one of the oldest running hostels.
Well, we started in '98. That was the first year that we went into the books.
So I've heard some crazy story about you climbing Mount Washington.
Well,
on your 83rd birthday or something?
85th birthday.
85th?
Well, I didn't climb the whole mountain. I got a ride to the top, but I hiked down to the Lake of the Clouds, and we stayed overnight, and then we hiked back out the next day. And on my 86th birthday, we went up to Lonesome Lake, and that was a little easier than Mount Washington. But anyhow, if these mountains would stop growing, I could get up them easier.
All right. Well, thank you.
Okay.
I'm calling Baxter Park right now to see if we can get Rainier up the mountain. Maybe it was 5 days ago, I don't know. I've lost track of time. Okay. Okay.
We just got off the phone. Cami and I both talked to, I don't even know what his job is there. He sounded like some sort of park ranger from Baxter State Park. And the news we got was that
You can't take Rainier all the way up
to Mount Katahdin, which is like the epic,
finish line.
iconic ending point of the AT. Like, that's what everyone wants, is that picture.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how you feeling?
Yeah, it's definitely a letdown. It's a little bit frustrating.
This guy, I don't want to say his name or anything just because it doesn't matter, but he was saying that it's like run like a cult. He was kind of joking, but he's also kind of serious.
Or very religious, if you want to put
like,
it that way.
They have to follow these rules and their hands are tied behind their back, and it's governmental, but
it's also a trust fund that they have to follow the Baxter's wishes. Like, that was in that trust fund.
Son of a bitch. We have a soft spot in our heart for cults, though, so.
Yeah, it's a huge letdown. It's like, it sucks. It feels discriminatory. But
I like that, discriminatory.
Yeah. So that's the glass half empty. And I don't want to underestimate how that feels.
But there's options.
It sucks.
There's a lot of options. We could break the rule. People have. Pay the fine. I'm not saying we should do that. I'm just saying these are options.
Yeah.
We could go up without Rainier.
Right.
Or we could stop at tree line together.
Which this whole thing with doing the AT with 6 kids and one of them being a 2-year-old is a different journey than I think anyone's done on the AT before, like in that sense. And so the glass half full for me is I want to look at this like, oh, we have a different journey than most people who hike the AT. They know if they're physically able or emotionally able or whatever, they're gonna get up to that sign. For us, it's probably not gonna happen. And so our ending will be different. Just like the whole trip is, I mean, we're a different entity out here. Like,
we're special.
We're special.
Kind of. We're still AT northbound through hikers. All AT northbound through hikers go to the sign.
Right.
I mean, I know that was your glass half full thing.
So that was my glass half full. And now it still really sucks. So it's going back and forth. Yeah. So that sucks. That we can't bring him up.
So we are going to tell the kids at some point, and we'll have to figure out what to do as a family and still be motivated to hike, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to go as far as we can for now. We'll see you guys tomorrow.